Okay, let's take a couple of minutes and talk about this Huawei thing that we find ourselves embroiled in this morning. Hey there, friends on YouTube. My name is Jason, sometimes known as the JTL. This is Painfully Honest Tech so honest it hurts, and well, let's just get right into it. If you're not familiar with or you've missed the news today, Google yesterday yanked Android from Huawei, said you cannot have no more, which is something that I don't remember ever happening before. Last Thursday, there was some evidence put forward that Huawei may have been engaged at some point in espionage here in the United States. And so on Friday, Donald Trump's administration blacklisted the company, which then led to Google sort of complying with this blacklisting and yanking Android from Huawei. Now, what does this mean? It basically means that if you have a Huawei phone right now, you'll be generally okay. It will continue to be supported, but if you, but phones manufactured from this point forward will no longer have access to Android, like the paid version of Android that Huawei has been using. They'll have no access to the Play Store. There'll be no Google apps like Gmail and Docs and blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. And it sort of leaves Huawei high and dry when it comes to what they're going to do with their operating system. There is a sort of vanilla version, a free version of Android that can be used, but Huawei claims that they have an operating system that they've been working on, and they're going to be just fine without Google. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. On the heels of this announcement last night, Qualcomm, Intel, and several other U.S.-based manufacturers also joined this boycott and agreed to not sell their products to Huawei. So that means the modems that they use, the system on a chip, or the SoC that they use, that is actually what powers it's the brains of the whole operation. So Huawei is left with the screen, no chip to run anything on, no operating system to put on that chip that they don't have. What does this all mean? I guess for those of us who have been in the United States, it doesn't really impact us a ton in our day-to-day lives because Huawei has not been a factor in the U.S. market. Well, I mean, they were never really a big factor, and for a couple of years now, they've not been a factor at all. There's no Huawei phones sold in the U.S. Yes, you can get Huawei phones shipped in from other places, but by and large, the general public is not really going to feel the pinch of not having Huawei phones available. The ripple effect that might occur here in the market itself could be more significant than it might first seem. Huawei needs Google, Huawei needs Intel, Huawei needs Qualcomm, etc., etc., etc. But if this is the beginning of what people are calling a trade Cold War between the United States and China, then there's lots of companies that do business in China with Chinese companies, and their relationships may be somehow affected by this in a quid pro quo kind of ban from the China side. Who knows? I mean, we all know that a lot of our electronics are manufactured in China and then shipped back over here for us. Apple uses them. Almost everybody uses Chinese manufacturers to build their stuff. So if that were jeopardized, then there would be probably a shortage of devices available at some point, and it could mean bad things for the consumer when it comes to availability, price, etc., etc., etc. That, of course, would impact the tech industry quite significantly. We may now find ourselves playing a game of trade chicken with the country of China, just going back and forth. Now, my opinion on this is a little interesting. I mean, I'm still forming my full opinion on this at this point, but I guess I'm kind of leaning in this direction that if Huawei had in some way been engaged in espionage here in the United States and elsewhere, then it's prudent to take some sort of action. This is a really complex situation, and it's really hard to know all the details. I'm sure more details will come out, and we might more fully understand what's going on here and the implications of it. But I think if there is in fact fire where there is smoke or whatever you want to call it, then it's prudent to take this step. Now, if this is just more sort of saber rattling and dowsing rod measuring and all kinds of stuff like that from the US government and the Chinese government, and the consumer is going to get stuck in the middle, then I would rather see this thing go away. The only people who are going to lose here in the end are the consumers, the people who buy these products, the people who use these products. The companies are going to suffer financially, but the consumers are the ones who might have to pay higher prices, who might find themselves with a shortage of new devices available. I mean, imagine if instead of $1,000 smartphone, we go into the rest of 2019 and into 2020 with smartphones costing upwards of $2,000. It's something that's certainly within the realm of consideration given the impact that this situation could have. What we know is this: the U.S. needs China as China needs the U.S. Now we find ourselves facing off U.S. versus China trade war. Yeah! Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. The situation with Huawei and the U.S. has been tenuous for a long time at this point. If there is espionage in play here, then definitely something needs to be done. But I don't know who to believe at this point. I wish that I had more ability to trust in our own government that they are acting in the best interest of the people who they serve, but I don't really have that sense of security. I think that we're going to have some rough times ahead. If you're a tech enthusiast, this is not going to be in your best interest for sure. I don't know how this gets sorted out. To make these kinds of moves, to pull your product from the second largest manufacturer of smartphones in the world, to pull your product from them is going to be a major blow not only to that company that makes those products, but also a major blow to the companies that provide those products. And things could get bad quick. Soon. And the implications and the outcomes that flow from this situation could be even more dire than what we envision right now. So what do you think? Tell me down in the comments. I mean, is this a big deal to you? Does it seem like it's, especially for those of you in the US, Huawei not really being a player in this country, it seems very far off. But to me, if you think about it, the implications will land really close to home for a lot of companies, a lot of people. So let me know what you think down in the comments and we can have a boisterous discussion. I'm really looking forward to that. I mean, this has been like a very quick update over what has just started to unfold in the United States and China vis-a-vis Huawei and Google and Intel and Qualcomm and this whole game of chicken that we seem to be playing. And for my part, I'd like to see it resolved. I'd like to see things get figured out, because in the end, the consumers are the ones who are going to suffer the most from this kind of situation, and the companies are just going to be fine. They're going to figure everything out, and they're going to be fine. But the consumers will feel the impact of this probably for years to come. So let me know what you think down in the comments. Really interested in hearing what you guys have to say. Let's discuss this thing. And yeah, that's it. If this is your first time coming here, then thank you so much for stopping by. If you want to come on back again, there are ways to do that. And if you've been here before, thank you so much for coming back again. I really do appreciate it. To close, my name is Jason, sometimes known as the JTL. This is Painfully Honest Tech. Tech so honest it hurts. Until the next time, I'm out.